Welcome, welcome in today. I am so glad that you have found me. This is Spiritual Physique Yoga. And my name is Jess. We are going to have a very grounded and twisty practice today. We're going to start by clearing out some energy through our breath, and then we're going to do mostly grounded poses. So we're going to stay close to the earth today. And again, work on creating energetic space, first through the breath, secondly through the body, using twists to help us clear it out. So when you're ready, I'll meet you back there on your mat. Just finding a nice, comfortable seat. Begin a pranayama nadi shodhana. See you back there. All right, I'm a little chilly. And make sure that you're comfortable as well, whether that means more clothes, less clothes, or making sure that the area right around you, including your mat, is a comfortable, safe feeling place for you. Very important as you begin your practice. So I'm going to, there we go. Turn down our music just a bit. And as you find your easy, comfortable seat, whatever that might be for you, we'll take a few rounds of breath as we kind of wiggle around here. Go ahead and find some movement that helps to ground you into this position that you've chosen to start practicing. And if you are familiar with Nadi Shodhana alternate nostril breathing, you may begin anytime you'd like, especially if you'd like a little bit of extra time. I'm going to start by explaining how to do it, and then I'm going to turn up the sound bowls just a little bit, play this bowl, and we'll have about a minute and a half for our alternate nostril breathing. Right? So a nice amount of time to begin our practice and kind of usher us in to clearing the energetic debris, if you will. So whichever is your dominant hand, we'll pick that hand up. I like to start saying a hang loose sign. Um, Many people like to lift their pointer or middle finger and bring it to the third eye center of this chakra right here. Um, I enjoy it a lot because it helps remind me to press my head back and sit up tall through my spine and my seat, shoulders back and down. Otherwise, if arms are kind of one's resting in the lap and the other's here in front, it might kind of just slowly start to pull you down, which is no big deal. It's just something to be aware of. So if you find that or notice that oftentimes you kind of round, then give it a try today. So thumb is out, pinky is out, pointer finger, middle finger, right here, third eye center. Eyes close, physical eyes, both of them. Close as the eyelids meet. And we'll take our thumb, we'll close off the nostril on the thumb side and inhale through the opposite nostril. Lungs are full, belly's full, sip in a little bit more air. Now use that fourth finger to close a nostril. Both nostrils are closed. You're holding your breath for 3, 2, and 1. All right. And we're going to lift the thumb and exhale out of that side only. The fourth finger is closing that nostril. At the bottom of the exhale, you can hold for a second or two empty. And then we will switch. Beginning the inhale, closing off that thumb side nostril. Both nostrils are closed. And exhale as we lift that fourth finger off the nostril. The exhale this time out of that side. And we'll continue this way. There is no wrong way to do this. You are alternating side to side. You're doing it absolutely just right for you. So try to not give it too much thought. Let the shoulders relax back and down, and for about the next minute and a half, we're going to continue this breathing. Slowing down the breath, taking our time. Last complete round of breath, and then you'll just allow your hand and arm to fall to your lap. Palms face up towards the sky, eyes still gently closed, and you'll receive the breath and then inhale through both nostrils. And you'll release the breath again through both nostrils. Just noticing how the body feels. Begin to tune into the subtle conversation that is the body, always in communication with us. So just start to notice, is there a particular part of the body that has kind of come to this conversation first? Oftentimes that happens by sensation. We'll say, oh, well, I feel my back, or my shoulders, my neck. And that's fine. Let the sensation be a guide for you. Come on into that place and then invite yourself to go a little bit deeper. Notice if there's a thought, a feeling, or an emotion associated with the place, the physical place in the body that has sensation. And we'll just slowly take a few more rounds of breath here, just drawing ourselves into this present moment, drawing ourselves inward when so much of our day is spent out here. This is a beautiful time for you to take just for yourself, doing the inside work. Good. So let's slowly allow the eyes to open, and we'll inhale the arms all the way out from our sides. Turn the palms to face up. Notice if the breath changed as the physical shape of your body changed. Invite that breath in deeper to find the very bottom of your lungs and to fill to the top. And as you exhale, invite all that air to leave, squeezing navel towards spine. And as you reach the arms out and away from the body, kind of notice if the elbows are bending, arms sagging, and invite the stretch out all the way through the fingertips. Invite this rotation. So instead of thumbs up, where you might not feel it so much, rotate thumbs back. Okay, good. And if you'd like a little bit more, you can just slowly start to inch the arms back behind the body. So instead of directly out from my sides, they kind of start to just come back a bit. And that might work for you, might not. Notice what happens with the breath. Notice if your gravity center shifts, if you move your arms. Okay, so bring yourself right back in. Try to let the legs relax and release. And as you come back into the breath, we're here for 3 more. And as I mentioned at the beginning, this is going to be a very grounded practice. We'll stay close to the earth, keep the focus on the breath, and invite twists in so that we can discover, identify where we can cleanse some stagnant energy. Right, next inhale, arms go all the way up above us. Palms touch, interlace those fingers, stretch to the sky, and then let's bring them in front of us. So this stretch is for around the shoulder blades, the scapulas. So think of cat through the upper back, and without rounding and dropping down, press through those shoulder blades. So it's as if we're reaching the palms, the heels of the hands forward to touch something, sitting up tall through the spine. And again, invite that navel back towards the spine on each exhale. In each slow inhale, the the belly fills with air. So we move out of this shallow or diaphragmatic breath up here. Excuse me, that's backwards. Shallow or clavicular breathing right up here by your clavicle. And we move into the diaphragmatic breath where this muscle, the diaphragm down here, its job is to help us breathe. So when we engage the diaphragm, it's like this balloon muscle that works backwards or opposite as you would imagine. When we inhale, the muscle actually comes up and balloons out. When we exhale, it goes down. And as we engage this muscle, we start to deepen the breath. All right, last full round here. With an exhale, just release the hands and let's turn all the way to the right and take a gentle seated twist. So we're not trying to force the body into anything here. We're just noticing a starting point, and it may not feel very far that you've twisted, and there's no problem with that. Interesting, oftentimes to me, more than how far my physical body moves in a particular asana or posture, is what my thought is immediately about how my body has moved. So interesting to consider inviting yourself in. There might be some energetic debris or space to be created just within the awareness of those thoughts, and bringing some conscious breath and awareness into each moment. And dropping both shoulders away from the ears. And so as we're twisted to the right, we'll keep this left hand on the outside of this right knee or somewhere on this right knee. Inhale the right arm up. And so we're still twisted. We don't want to untwist to the front. We still want to invite the heart to be twisted around to the right. We'll take a breath and reach the length of this right arm up towards the sky. And then as we exhale, we lean. Now, oftentimes what can happen is instead of leaning the body, we could just bend, right? Drop the shoulder, drop the arm. But no, let's start again. Let's twist. Inhale up for length, staying tall through the spine. Exhale and lean. Good. Closing the eyes. With a practice that's grounded, such as we're doing, it's so nice because we are held by Mother Earth. We don't have to have our physical eyes open. In fact, I invite you and encourage you to close your eyes as often as able, and I will do my best to articulate where we are going physically without having to open the eyes. Last round of breath. And let's lift up. Sit up tall. Untwist, come to center. Both hands come onto both knees. We'll inhale, bring the heart forward. Think of cow. Exhale, round back, chin to chest. Think of cat. So there's lots of different ways to do cow-cat. Moving with the breath through the spine and the spinal muscles. And we can do that on our hands and knees, which is pretty typical, but we can also do it seated here. So a few more times, forward and back. Last time, deep inhale brings you forward, really tip forward. And an exhale brings you all the way back, round, round, round back, straighten the arms, chin to chest. And then let's return to our seat, sitting up nice and tall. We're going to switch those legs. So the opposite leg goes in front, and this is likely not the typical leg that you put in front. So it might feel a little bit weird, but it's nice to give it the opportunity, even though it might not seem like much of a difference. It does change the alignment in our body. So it's nice to also do both sides. All right, so once we've switched our legs to sitting up nice and tall, inhaling the arms out. Exhale, arms behind you. Good, interlace the fingers. And from here, as you straighten the arms, you could just rest your knuckles back, squeezing shoulder blades together. You could float the arms and knuckles up and off of the earth. And if this is a little too much, then instead of interlacing, just bring the hands behind you, ground your hands, and lift the heart. Once again, I invite you to close those physical eyes. Even more breath and awareness starts to get shifted to engage that one all knowing third eye or first eye. As we come deeper into our internal senses, it's that subtle system that's always here, but we live in a very loud world, and oftentimes we ourselves are too loud to be operating in conjunction or in companionship with this system. And so it takes an intentional time to slow down, to quiet down, where we can tune in and actually join into this conversation. Nice bodily conversation here. One more round of breath. As we release, we'll inhale the arms out to the side and exhale. Take that gentle twist to the left. So all we're doing is going the other way, and notice that this side twisting might feel different immediately. And there's a good reason for that. It's the opposite side of the body. So sitting up tall, dropping the shoulders away from the ears, closing the eyes. And as we invite that same deep diaphragmatic breath in, notice that when we're twisted, the space that we have to breathe into is compromised a little bit. It feels differently. Um, so as it does fill, even though it is different, notice if you can feel the filling as you're twisted here. We got a couple more rounds of breath. The right hand will stay on the outside of that left knee. So really ground that hand, staying twisted hard around to the left. Inhale the left arm up. Find a nice stretch and some length on this side body here first. And then with an exhale, just lean. Closing the eyes, resisting any urge to force or judge anything. And notice that that can be a really sweet resistance. Right? So as we resist that urge, we do so out of love, out of conscious awareness. So we're not pushing it away. We're loving it in the moment and choosing something else. 2 more rounds of breath. And we'll return sitting up tall, untwisting, and inhale both arms up. And exhale, hands together overhead and right down in front of the heart space. Take a moment here and breathe as if it was your heart that was receiving that breath. And you start to activate that heart mind here, the heart brain, and sending prana and energy in through this heart chakra, the anahata. Last round of breath. Good, release. All right, let's roll over our knees. Come to hands and knees. So we're going to stretch this out. We'll tuck the right toes on the mat far behind us as we outstretch that leg, rock forward and back. Good. Let's keep those toes grounded to the earth. Ground this right hand and lift the left arm forward. Good. So the gaze is down, and we'll stay grounded once again with the left knee and the right hand. And if and only if you are ready, we can float this right leg up and off the mat. So we're reaching in opposite directions, engaging through the core. And take another round of breath here. We're going to point these back toes. Inhale and exhale. Tap the mat with the fingertips and the toes. Good. Lift up and tap. We lift up and tap. We've got 3 more. What's happening with our breath? Are we losing any sort of Engagement, both the left hand and the right knee come down, losing any engagement over that conscious breathing. Let's come back to a child's pose. Wrap the arms by your sides, palms face up, forehead to the earth, and bring yourself down. And also notice for just a few of those, that single leg and arm raised, we got the heart pumping just a little bit faster. Okay. Just feel a little bit more alive inside that heartbeat and inside the breath. Come back and visit this child's pose whenever you'd like throughout our practice. We'll come back into a tabletop as you're ready. So coming right back, knees together to touch. And we'll extend that left leg, tuck those toes under, and give it a nice stretch, rocking forward and back. We'll keep those toes grounded. And as we lift this right arm, it comes from our core. Squeeze navel towards spine. Right arm comes forward, gazes down. Once again, this is a beautiful place to stay. You could stay here and hold. Absolutely no need to move on unless your body is ready to do so. The left leg floats up and off the mat. Once again, this is also a beautiful place to stay. Staying engaged. Only if you would like to move here, continue reaching in opposite directions. Instead of flexing that back foot, gaze will stay down and we'll point those toes. Take one more inhale. Exhale, tap the mat with the toes and the fingers. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, tap. Three more. How's that breath? Let's ground the right hand and that left knee. Good. So I'm going to turn on my mat just to be facing the opposite way here. You can stay just as you are. We will come up onto our knees. Good. And as we do, let's separate those knees so they're underneath hips. Good. Hands can come to the hips. And then maybe behind us, fingertips face down. Helping those hips forward, helping the pelvis forward, and just rocking side to side. And from here, let's release. Hands come to the mat. We'll take puppy dog or heart melting pose. So knees stay as they are. Hands walk forward. Heart and chest come to the earth, maybe chin or forehead. Two more rounds of breath. And we'll slowly lift up. Turn this down just a bit. There we go. As we lift up, we'll keep those hands at a diagonal in front of us. So we're really reaching. We'll come forward off those knees. Inhale, exhale down halfway, and back up. Right back to a child's pose with the breath. Inhale up at a diagonal in our tabletop. Exhale halfway, back up, and to a child's pose. Three more times. Try closing the eyes. Now you know where you're going and what you're doing. Twice more as you come down halfway. Elbows squeeze the ribs and stay in line with the body instead of coming out like wings. Last one, and then you'll come into your child's pose, staying there. If you came into your child's pose with the knees wide, no problem. Just invite those knees together. Knees together. We're going to bring the arms behind us and then behind our back. Interlace those fingers if that's available to you. Top of the head comes to the mat, staying here or lifting the hips. Got 3 more rounds of breath. Challenging to do with this headset on, so I'm going to sit and breathe with you. Now you'll release the arms first and just let them fall to the mat. Slowly bring the hips down to the heels. Just rest in the child's pose as you walk those fingertips away from the body. So you outstretch the arms in front of you. Maybe activate by lifting the elbows and forearms off of the mat. Just ground those fingertips. Two more rounds of breath. Good, and let's lift up from our child's pose. Knees together to touch at the center. We're going to take one inhale here. Think of cat through the upper back. And on an exhale, lift those knees. So toes can be tucked or untucked. You choose. Good. We're going to take 3 more deep rounds of breath. Activating through the core, navel towards spine, gazes down, eyes are closed would be even better. You've got one more slow, deep round of breath. And exhale, knees down. Lower the forearms and elbows. Step those feet back into a forearm plank. Knees are up or down. You choose. Right? Forearm plank is still a forearm plank whether the knees are up or down. We have 3 more rounds of breath. Slow it down. And lower those knees on an exhale. Untuck the toes and lower the hips and the legs. We come into a Sphinx pose. So from here, shoulders and elbows are aligned. So it's a supported, gentle back bend. It shouldn't feel like too much. So if you know right away that you want more and your lower back is in agreement with what your mind is telling you that you want, then you can lift those elbows and forearms off the ground into seal. Otherwise, just stay here and breathe with me. You can lift your forearms and hands and draw the elbows back towards the hips to activate here. And then lower the hands down once you found that activation. Legs can squeeze together like a tail. And you can press the tops of those toes down, activating the quads, or you can just lift off the mat just an inch or two. So head stays forward, breath is deep. We've got 3 more rounds. On that last third exhale, legs will come down if they were hovering. Hands will slide back underneath the shoulders. Let's press back up to that tabletop. And we're going to actually take our one and only downward facing dog here. So tuck those toes, lift your hips, and we're just doing this more as a stretch than as a transition posture. Oftentimes, down dog is used to transition from one to the next. But here, I just want you to walk your dog side to side. Maybe widen those feet. Have a tilt to the pelvis. Soft bend to the knees. Heart and chest reaching back for those thighs. Ground down the hands. And you're in an inversion here, so just notice. How does it feel? So with that soft bend in our knees, we can either bend a little bit more or keep as is. We're going to shorten the distance between our hands and our feet so that we can reach back with the right hand to the left leg, bend that elbow, and give a little pull for a twist. Looking under that left arm. Last round of breath. And we'll release. And find your center. Maybe take a moment. Ground that right hand by gripping the mat with the finger joints all the way to the fingertips, and then engage left hand to right leg. Twist and look underneath the right arm. 2 more slow rounds of breath. As we untwist, ground that left hand, walk those toes back and bring the upper body forward, high plank pose. So let's take a moment as we just came out of an inversion. And on top of that, we were twisting. Let's just take a moment here, come back into the breath. Good. And then lower the knees, bring them to the center mat. Knees are touching. So I've just turned to face you just to help explain where we're going next. We're going to inhale the right leg back. Exhale, bring it forward, right knee to right elbow. Good. Inhale it back. And exhale, right knee, left elbow. Good. So notice the difference there. Inhale it back. Exhale, bring it forward to the right. Switch to the left. To the right, to the left. So you're like a windshield wiper. Just a couple more times. Good. Now this next time, we're going to slide that right ankle in front of that left knee and just cross it over. Right? So as we slide, we cross over, we widen the feet and ankles to come back and have a seat. Good. Now this is oftentimes one of those sensory-filled postures. So just notice what's here to greet you as you first come in to your posture. Closing the eyes, dropping the shoulders, sitting tall through the spine. Notice how it is to sit with sensation. Are you kind of itching to move away from it? Are you wanting to lean and shift away? Are you wanting to hurry up and count your way through it? How is it to sit with sensation? And remembering that this is a conversation and it's not one-sided. You get to join in this conversation, and the way that we engage conversation with our body is through our breath. So your breath, that deep diaphragmatic breath, tells the body, tells the nervous system, is direct communication to yourself that it's okay. No matter what story and what thoughts might be coming up about what you may be feeling, just feel it and sit with the sensation. And as we bring awareness to it through breath, we'll notice little bits of softening. That's some of that energetic debris clearing out of the way, making some space. So cow face pose is an intense one. And if you got this far and you're still here, I highly encourage that you stay. If you kind of got part of the way, but not so much, a modification here, if that's a little too much, is to ground the bottom of the right foot and just kind of hug in that right knee. Right? You're still twisted. You're working your way towards cow face. Kind of drop down through that right sitting bone. So we're here for a few more rounds of breath. Postures like this, like pigeon, squat, frog, we tend to stay in them a little bit longer. Our bodies, our minds are good at guarding. So we have to first be here long enough to let that guarding reaction happen. And then as we breathe through it, it starts to soften. And then we're able to start to feel deeper, that next layer. No, you're still here. You're doing great. Close the eyes. We're going to take a few cleansing breaths. So, cleansing breath is in through the nose, fill the belly, sit up tall, tall, tall. Open the mouth, exhale. Twice more on your own. Good. So, my favorite part about cow face pose is coming out of cow face pose. So, I will describe and show you the way I like to come out of it. I like to ground my hands and then kind of just give yourself a little push forward until you come onto both knees. So, this is the way we got in. We're turning around and we're using it again as the way we get out. So, I'm going to spin on my mat here, ground the hands. And you're just going to stretch this left leg back and tuck those toes under. Now, this right knee will come to the right arm, and then we'll inhale, come into our three-legged downward facing dog. Bend the knee, let that foot drop over to the left. And if your body is really asking for it, you can flip right on over into Wild Thing. My headphone will fall off, so I will do a little bit of a half Wild Thing here. And then you'll come right on over to the plank pose and down with the knees. So we're going to go right away to the other side. So with knees together and touching, the left leg will go back. Take an inhale, exhale, the knee to the elbow, side of the tricep. Inhale back, the knee to the right arm, squeeze and back to the left arm and back and to the right arm. Next time we come forward, we will do that windshield wiper. So bring it forward and switch. Over and switch. Good. 3 more times. Staying in that breath. And the next time we come forward, sliding that foot in front. It might need a little help. And then widening the feet and ankles and slowly walking our way back. Cow face pose, other side of the body. This, again, likely will feel very different, which is understandable. It is the other side of the body. So notice right away if it's a little too much and you're having trouble staying in the breath. Plant that foot and just begin here. You'll still feel it. Okay? It's a beautiful place to start. It's a beautiful place to stay. If you are working on getting those knees a little closer together, I like to kind of shimmy and shift my way around. Invite the feet and ankles further away from the body. And then sit up tall. And once again, invite yourself to sit with the sensation. You're doing great. Closing those physical eyes, releasing the legs to soften, noticing where we're holding on that we might not have even noticed before until the release happens. Deepening the breath, noticing if there is a pull to want to back out or to move away from the sensation, and without labeling it or calling it anything, just be with it. Respond in the breath. The deeper and the slower, the more strong and strength in the response that we're safe. It's like more conviction, the deeper and the slower the breath. And don't worry, if you are like me, our favorite part is coming up. We've got just a few more rounds of breath. We'll get to make our way out of cow face pose on this side and take a really nice three-legged dog stretch, or maybe a wild thing. So when you're ready, ground those hands, bring and walk yourself forward. We're just going to take that back leg, which is the right one, send it back, tuck those toes under, float up that left leg to the left arm, send it back and up. Stay here if this feels great, or bend the knee, drop the foot, or flip it over, wild thing, you choose. You're going to take your time here. And when you come back over to your plank pose, we'll pause for a moment and then lower the knees. Come back to a wide knee child's pose at the back of the mat. I love a wide knee child's pose. So knees can go even to the edges of the mat or off of the mat if you're long in the legs like me. And from here, just drop the hands first. Maybe drop the elbows and the forearms. Give your body a moment. What you're doing is creating space for your chest and your torso to come down to the earth. Maybe this is enough, or maybe a pillow for your forehead with your forearms would feel really nice. Or outstretch the arms, walk those fingertips away, and we're going to rest here in this child's pose for about a minute. Okay, but we are going to move the arms. So if you are up on forearms, it's a little too much to come down, then I would suggest that you bring the knees a little closer together and have a little bit more support in your child's pose. The left arm will stay outstretched, fingertips on the mat. We'll take this right arm and slide it underneath the left, palm face up, but keep that forehead directly down. So we're going to add a stretch and a twist for the shoulders, for the neck. And soften the breath. And we'll untwist that arm, bring it back all the way to the front as you crawl the fingertips away, both arms. And then leave that right hand grounded, fingertips down. Slide the left arm underneath, palm face up. And notice if the head wants to look to the right, the same direction as those left fingers, but instead keep the forehead directly down. This is what helps to stretch our neck, our cervical muscles. Yeah, a couple more rounds of breath here. And so we'll untwist that left arm. Once again, walk the fingertips away from the body. Take that full child's pose. And then walk the hands back towards the body. Good. So from here, seated, we will tuck our toes under and lift those knees. So just really easily coming into a nice low squat. And if right away you come into this and you feel a little shaky or wobbly, that's great. All these little tiny stabilizer muscles that we don't use very often because mostly you're on your entire footbed, right? Not just the ball of your foot and your toes. So normally those little stabilizer muscles don't have to work so hard. So all that's happening here as you're kind of, either falling in and out or feeling really unstable is giving a little bit of love to those little muscles that don't get a lot of use. All right, so a couple more rounds of breath here. Good. So if you're not at the top of your mat, you can kind of just take a little walk towards the top of your mat in this squat. And from here, arms will go forward and we'll have a seat down on our mat. Good. From here, let's bring the hands to the knees and just let those feet kind of naturally come up and off of the mat. And as we do, let's see, I'll do my best to be able to do this with you, though I have this mic pack on this side. So let's see what we can do here. So hands on knees, feet are floating still. We'll switch the hands to behind the knees and keep the torso and the thighs in contact. Inhale the right leg up and exhale down. Inhale left and down. Good. So if your hamstrings are not appreciating this, then you will just be extending the leg maybe half as high to full extension. Okay? And when you're ready, we're going to do both legs. So the navel's towards the spine, and the hands are behind the knees because we're actually using them. Squeeze. So you're still in contact, your thighs and your torso. And so we've got 3 more. Send that breath right down to those hamstrings, especially if they feel tight. And then let those feet fall. Arms forward. Take an inhale and exhale. Let's come all the way down onto your back. Yeah, so here's my test of articulation, since this is challenging to do floor twists when you have a mic on and a headset. I will do my best to walk you through it. So down onto your back, we'll first begin with the bridge pose. So feet are planted on the mat, arms are by the sides, palms face down. We'll inhale, lift the hips for bridge. Chest and chin come close together. Eyes are closed. We refrain from moving the head right or left. We keep it at center to protect our cervical spine and just lift the hips and pelvis. Maybe walk those shoulder blades together and the arms underneath the body to interlace the fingers. And if you do, I like to release my pinky fingers and try to press the edges of my pinkies down into the mat, trying to press the arm and the strength of the arm and even the shoulder heads down into the mat. So imagine as you're in this bridge pose, your arms are your foundation for your bridge. And lift those hips nice and high. Good. Now we're going to transition this into a twist. So if you do have your fingers interlaced underneath you, go ahead and release them. Bring your hands to the earth. Walk the feet closer together so the knees are side by side, and we'll inhale and lift that right leg up. Just for a moment. And with an exhale, cross the right leg over the left. Okay, so crossing right knee on top of left knee, and exhale the hips down. Good. From here, arms move out away from the body to our sides, and we'll take the knees to the left. Let the head fall to the right, and just release into this spinal twist. I have about another 60 seconds in this twist. So allowing the body to soften, including the jaw, the muscles of the face, the eyes, the tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth. Sitting with sensation. And kind of visit an edge here in your twist. Just kind of notice with your breath if there's anything there for you. Just being curious. Got about 30 more seconds. So I like to come out of spinal twists with intention. So first, untwisting the head, bringing the head back to center first, and then using the obliques and the hands down into the earth to untwist the knees to center, uncross those knees, pull them in with the hands, rock side to side. Maybe some circles, both directions. Kind of massage the lower back, the sides of the back, the muscles right down there around the spine that you were just twisting. Kind of give them some love. And we'll get ready for the other side. So when you're ready, back into that bridge pose. Well, so this time, before we make our way into our twist, If you'd like to come right away into fingers interlaced and arms outstretched, go for it. You can also bend at the elbows, come onto your tippy toes, and wiggle your hands underneath the back of your hips and pelvis to lift up. So, whatever you choose here, we'll just here for a few rounds of breath before we transition into that twist. So, doing something that invites in a little bit more space or the opportunity for space. Good. Now, if your fingers were interlaced or your hands were on your hips to help prop them up, let's release, ground the hands and arms, walk the feet together so the knees are side by side first, and then inhale that left leg up towards the sky. Let the hips lift as the leg lifts. It's only for a second or two. We'll exhale and cross that left leg over the right. So left knee crosses over right knee, and exhale, hips down. Arms slide out, and when you're ready, knees go to the right, head to the left. So if this is too much in your twist, you just uncross the legs and you can stack knees one on top of the other. And move right into allowing the face to soften, the tongue to drop, shoulders to soften. Sitting with any sensation that is here on this side. I'm loving it with our breath and being present with it. Maybe just sit with it. Not just because it's easy, but just because it's simple. But we know simple doesn't necessarily mean easy to do. And taking our time, deepening our breath. We've got about 20 more seconds here. Now untwisting just the head first. So with intention, roll the head back to center. Float those knees back to center. Use the obliques, uncross, pull them in. Give them a nice big hug. Rocking side to side. And let's transition from our knees into happy baby. So you can reach for the ankles, the heels, the outer edges of the feet, however you like to happy baby here. Keeping those eyes closed. This will be our last posture before Shavasana today. So invite yourself to explore through your happy baby, maybe rolling from right to left all the way onto one side and one hip and then another feels really good. Maybe for you, it's a little bit more love for your hamstrings, so you outstretch one leg as you move towards that side. Maybe both legs. Maybe it doesn't matter as long as it feels good and you're staying in the sensation and in the conversation. As we get ready to release our happy baby, we'll bring the knees into the chest. Wrap up those knees for a hug by lifting the head up, inviting the nose towards the knees. Give yourself a nice squeeze, tight, tight little ball. So imagine inviting all of your body to lift and hover up off the mat here, squeezing everything in. We'll take 3 more rounds of breath here. You can do it. Really squeezing everything in, engaging muscles right here. And with that third exhale, we will release. Head comes down, arms and legs come to the mat. Tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth, and we are in our Shavasana for the next few minutes. Reawakening as we draw a deep breath into the body, opening the mouth for a cleansing exhale. Twice more. Wiggling fingers and toes. If you're on your back, rolling the head right and left. So slowly circle out wrists and ankles. Let's take a full body stretch. Lengthen those legs out, slide them together, arms up and overhead. Reach in opposite directions. Give yourself some traction, some stretch, some length. One more breath. Knees into the chest on an exhale. Wrap up those knees, rock side to side. Give yourself a hug as you reawaken from your practice into the rest of your day or evening. And roll onto whichever side you are naturally guided. Let's rest in fetal pose on the right or left side. Just because it's interesting information, the different sides of the body represent something different energetically. The right side of our body, everyone's body, is the male side. So that would be the active energy, the heat of the sun, daytime energy, the yang, the doing energy. And the left side of the body, the opposite, the feminine energy, the moon, the receptivity. Um, so just kind of notice. We're both a mixture. Has nothing to do with gender. It's just energetic identity, and we have a mixture of both. So whichever side you came to is beautiful. We'll come up to a seat, eyes remain closed, and we'll sit up nice and tall. So just where we began our practice, we will meet to close our practice in the physical. Let's take a deep breath together. Open mouth, exhale. Inhale the arms to circle them out and all the way up above you. Reach for the sky. Fingertips touch and then fingers, palm touches. Exhale, elbows bend, slide the hands down, coming in front of the heart space. And today we'll separate those hands so they come flat over the heart space. One hand on top of the other. Taking a moment in reverence with true devotion to self here. Reverence for ourselves, for giving and receiving this gift of self love, for creating this for you today, for choosing this for you today. What an incredible gift. Acknowledge yourself. Acknowledge the time, the intention, the energy. Notice any subtle shift. Okay? Just bring that into our awareness, that conscious awareness. And then we'll take that same reverence and we'll share it with one another. So we bring the hands together in front of the heart, Anjali Mudra. When we say namaste, we honor and bow to one another energetically and physically. But here, as we're joined energetically, we will take our hands, rise up just above towards the third eye center. And as we bow to one another, we honor the divine light that is each other. Namaste. Well, congratulations on taking this time today for yourself. I truly honor you, as I know how difficult it is for me myself to carve out the time and to get to my mat, even as much as I love it. And I know all of the beautiful benefits. So you did it today. Please come back and practice with me anytime. All of my donation information is listed on Yogalution's teacher page on my social media, Spiritual Physique, Jess Marachi. You can find me on YouTube as well with some classes there. So, once again, I appreciate you finding me today. I am grateful for your donation, and I hope that we find each other again sometime. Be well and take care of yourself and others. Namaste.